Hey, everybody, and welcome in. It's the Poor Man Fantasy Football League podcast. We're the fantasy football show that gives you a peek inside the life and times of our Dynasty League. I'm your host, Mike. With me, as always, is my friend Andrew. And this week, this wonderful Wednesday night, May 7th, we're going to be doing something we haven't done before. We're going to be doing a top 5 and 5 busts by position. And tonight, we're going to be doing quarterbacks and tight ends. So before we get down to that, Andrew, how you doing this week? I was going to try to say wonderful week and just went with whatever I said. So this week.
All good, I guess. And yourself?
Feeling pretty good. Work is starting to pile up and it's starting to wear me a little bit because at one point I thought it was being handled well. And now it's just for every work order I complete, I get 2 or 3 more.
Oh, when you're top dog, that's what happens to you.
Oh, yeah. It's a double-edged sword. It's good to be great, but comes at a cost.
Yes, I'm sure.
All right. Well, it is Wednesday night, May 7th. Spring has sprung. The trees are finally green. We can move on beyond the cold weather. It was, 23 degrees in the city today?
Something like that, yep.
Yeah, and I'm still wearing a sweater, which is mind-blowing because it was a bit breezy. We're dealing with some wild grass fires in the area, but it just wasn't hot. Like, it wasn't stifling.
No.
So, yeah, I had to wear a sweater.
Well, you still got the cold winter wind still hanging around, I guess.
The Arctic chill. Yeah, it's just right there.
What do they call it? The Alberta Clipper.
Is that what they call that? Is that what that is?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. It sounds great, though.
There is a term called that.
Alberta. Okay, well, I've heard the Alberta Clipper. Now let's find this out.
I think that's actually a warm spell in winter.
Alberta Clipper is a fast-moving, low-pressure weather system that originates in or near Canadian province of Alberta and travels east. So we don't get the Alberta Clipper. Our friends out east get it. It heads towards the Great Plains, the Midwest, and sometimes to the east coast of North America, bringing these storms are known for their swift movement and often bring cold temperatures, light snow, and strong winds.
There we go.
Yeah. So when you guys get bad weather in the Midwest, the Great Plains, or the East Coast, there's a good chance it came from us.
There we go.
The Alberta Clipper. Yeah.
And the more you know. There's your
oh,
what was the
yeah
the
G.I. Joe. The more you know, right? That they were. I don't know if it was exclusive to G.I. Joe, but they always had the end of the G.I. Joe. The more you know.
Oh, I was doing the. There used to be a guy on the radio that. Now you know the rest of the story.
With Paul Harvey.
Yeah.
Was it Paul Harvey? Yeah. Then the rest of the story. Loved that show.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't do stuff like that anymore. No.
Not when you go on the internet and you figure it out in 30 seconds.
True enough. You don't have these people telling you these interesting bits of facts and information.
Yes.
Speaking of which, my son started playing baseball. Tonight was day 2. And it is interesting watching 9-year-olds play baseball. There are a couple kids on his team who have been playing for several years. And by several years, I mean 4. And this is my son's first year. And everybody's pretty much at the same level. It is doesn't matter how many years you've been playing. They are all uncoordinated, unmotivated, and just happy to be hanging out with their friends.
So let me ask this question then. Is that a sad commentary on kids' abilities, or is that a sad commentary on Canadian athletics that a kid that's been playing a sport for 4 years has the same skill set as a kid that's never played?
I think
or is your son just exceptionally good at the sport?
No. Sure, he might have some athletic ability, natural talent. Like I can kind of see that he gets things quickly. He can also bat left and right-handed.
That's the way I was when I played ball too.
Really, like that blew my mind when he's just like, I don't like it like this way. He just stepped across the plate, swung, crack. I'm like, okay, cool. Like do your thing.
When I played hockey, ball hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Out on the playing defense or forward, I shot left. When I played goalie, I was right-handed stick.
Okay.
Because of the way I wore the glove.
The glove, yeah, what you got used to catching.
Yes.
Okay.
And same thing with golf. I can hit from both sides.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's a talent, man. That is a rare ability.
It's just anybody can learn it. It's just
some of it's not natural though. Like you're just
But if
the
you
way your
practice,
brain thinks. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you just
cool.
break it down in your head, and
Then just work on the motor skills of it. Yeah,
yeah,
it was fun to watch. Some of the kids had a good time. Some of the kids weren't paying attention, so the coaches are out on the field coaching the kids when they're fielding a ball. They get it. All right, now turn, throw it to first base. And first base is not watching. Bonk off the side of the head. It's great. And the best part was that's the coach's kid at first base.
there you go.
Yeah, not paying attention. Anyways, good. It was fun. I look forward to seeing some more baseball fiasco going forward. All right. Football news. All right, everybody. Are you ready for this? This is big. This is going to rock your world. We actually have a real piece of football news. The Dallas Cowboys traded a third, a speculative third, or whatever they're calling it. It's not an exact third. It has the chance of moving and changing. And then a pick swap with the Pittsburgh Steelers to acquire wide receiver George Pickens. Now, I
That's
know
not helping Dallas at all.
I think it is. I think
it's just somebody else to throw the ball to, but I don't think he's a good enough talent.
I think he's a great wide receiver too. I don't think he's enough to carry a team, but if you got CeeDee Lamb out there, I think George Pickens will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think George Pickens showed enough that he could be not a T. Higgins wide receiver too, but I'm not sure who
Adam Thielen, number 2.
Adam Thielen was number 1.
No, he wasn't. Justin Jefferson was.
Okay, you're talking about when he's on the Vikings.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm thinking Adam Thielen now. He's number 1 on the Carolina Panthers. That's how bad that is.
Well, I don't think he's actually playing this year. I think he announced retirement.
Oh, no way. Okay, hang on. Now I got to go and look it up.
And I could be wrong, but I thought I saw a thing online that he was retiring. Or maybe he's retiring at the end of this year.
Don't terrify me because I'm actually relying on him in poor men. In this league, I have Adam Thielen. Nothing guaranteed beyond 2024. Yeah, okay, so here we go. 5 days ago, Carolina Panther veteran wide receiver Adam Thielen said that he talked with his family and they wanted him to play in 2025. He plans to go through a similar process after this season. So 2025 might be it.
Okay, I misread the thing.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? It makes sense. He's 34 years old. He'll be 35 when the season starts. And he had a rough go last year up until week 12, where Kansas City beat the snot out of him. And then he woke up in week 13 and became really good.
Yeah, his big thing, because I used to have him in a few leagues as well. He was a very streaky player. When he got hot, he was all over the place, getting touchdowns, getting yardage. But then he disappeared for weeks at a time. He wasn't a reliable number 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to happen with Pickens in Dallas. Is he's going to be Mr. Irrelevant. He's going to have a game or two where for that week he might be the number 1 receiver in the league for that week. But then he's going to be like wide receiver 30 most weeks.
You know what? That's a flex play. And that's what I would expect or want out of George Pickens. He finished last year as wide receiver 42.
There you go.
And disappeared in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So half a season. He essentially didn't help you really through half a season. Missed 3 games, 4 games, I'm guessing. Looks like here on top of that. And delivered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And when you say delivered, was that 15 or plus points?
10 plus points.
Okay.
Right. Flex play.
Yeah, sure. 10 plus points for a flex player is good.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to end up amounting to is a flex play type of guy, especially in this system. What I'm more curious about is the Steelers.
Well, I think they're just I think they've folded up camp and are looking to 2026. Because the talk now about Rodgers is more talking about family stuff and doing other commitment stuff and he's not even really thinking about football. And one of the coaches in Pittsburgh said, when you get a guy starting to talk like that, he's already retired.
Yeah.
So if he actually does come, but then another coach said Aaron Rodgers doesn't like doing all the preseason training.
Right, he wants to skip all that, but that's how you
just show up day one of the season. But I think that's just going to create more animosity in that locker room than anything.
Yeah, how do you build a rapport with anybody if you don't attend practice?
Exactly. So I can't see, even if Pittsburgh does sign him, at this point in time, I'm writing him off as a retired player.
Me too. I'm not expecting, even if he does show up, he's probably going to have to compete with Mason Rudolph for that job. That's how bad.
And that speaks volumes. That you're having to compete with a has-been that's half your age. Well, not quite half your age, but
pretty close.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close. He's in his 40s. But Rudolph wouldn't be a starter on 30 of the other 32 teams.
No, he would not.
So I think Pittsburgh is just they drafted a few young guys this year. They're going to see what they can do with them, and then build in the next draft to get something even
All right.
better.
I'm going to ask you some questions. Here, I'm going to give you some names of the wide receivers that are currently on the Steelers. And I want you to tell me your level. I'm not even sure. You tell me something about this. These are the guys that you're probably going to heard of before. Robert Woods, of old Rams fame from way back when.
Yeah.
Okay, he's on there. Roman Wilson, wide receiver from Michigan, lost his rookie year. He's into his second year, but he had injuries all last year and didn't play. He's listed as wide receiver 3. Calvin Austin.
Yeah, he was with Pittsburgh last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played the entire season, finished as wide receiver 63.
Yeah. Again, on most teams, he'd be the wide receiver 3.
Could be.
Or the 4th.
Lance McCutcheon.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, that's he's been in the league 3 years. This will be going on to year 4. Ben Skoranek. Oh yeah, they got Ben Skoranek. He was with the team last year. Played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, and didn't have a lot of snaps. Okay, so this is a team outside of DK Metcalf. They've got nothing at wide receiver.
Yeah, but they drafted a running back, right?
They did. They drafted his name is Caleb Johnson.
Yeah,
out of Iowa. Oh, so I like that. 6'1", 224.
Yeah, he's a power back.
Yeah. They still got Pat Freiermuth, I guess. He finished as tight end 10.
I'm not going to say a word.
As the Pat Freiermuth owner?
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah. That's just foreshadowing.
Wait. Are you got drunk? Oh, you don't own him in this league. You
I own him in 2 other leagues.
In 2 other leagues. Okay. Well, hey. I love me tight ends, man. I'll trade you a tight end for that tight end if I've got one. What else have we got here? Yeah, I don't know. It's just
I like I said, I think that team is they're accepting the fate that they could be a bottom 5 team.
Yeah.
But with Tomlin at
the helm,
coach, they could end up 500 and be the wild card team. That's just the way he coaches and the way his defense steps up.
Yeah.
When the years that their offense sucks, their defense is just outstanding, and you almost gotta win by a field goal to win. So it's
not the way you want to win games.
No, because that's just going to tire your defense out, and that kills you for your playoff run. But I think, like I said, maybe they're looking at, next year might be our bounce back year if we can get good draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And this year will just be what it is. We just accept the fact that we can't be, for 40 years, we can't be, the top 1 or 2 in the division every single. You have to accept that at some point in time, you got to step back and rebuild.
It also doesn't help that Tomlin has never had a losing season. when you don't have a losing season, you never put yourself in a position to get good draft capital.
Exactly.
You're always trying to win, which I appreciate, but you're also hurt yourselves.
You're never getting the top guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that takes care of the news. I do have some league stuff I want to get off and out of the way here before we move on. We are 9 days. Just to confirm here, I'm just going to go back to our draft board. We are 9 days and 11 hours from wave to starting our draft, guys. We are not in a good spot because I was just informed that we are missing a player. We are missing Chervin. Chervin has gone MIA. So I'm going to start it today. Chervin Watch. So if you're listening to this podcast,
Chervin Watch 2025.
That's right. Exactly. That's it. That is, if I could have that sound effect graphic, I would. Chervin Watch 2025. If you hear from Chervin, if you've seen him, the first to post and spot Chervin, we're going to give you a high five because we're broke as F here at the Poor Man League. And that's what you're going to get. So if you see Chervin,
you get a shout out.
Oh, yeah, there we go. We'll give you a shout out and say, hey, man, so-and-so, they spotted Chervin. He's back. Here we go. I hope he's doing all right. I know he's in a couple leagues.
I saw him in the streets of Pittsburgh playing street hockey with Mario Lemieux and Elvis Presley.
Okay. That is a very specific story. The streets of Pittsburgh. It was Mario Lemieux and Elvis Presley.
On a tabloid thing that I saw like 20 years ago about somebody was seen in the streets of Pittsburgh with playing street hockey with Mario Lemieux and Elvis Presley.
Okay. That's a good one. All right. Well, Chervin, if you hear this, I hope you're all right. Hopefully you come back. Hopefully you're here in time for us to get the league draft ready to go. We are 9 days and 11 hours away. I'm very excited. It's the time of year where some real enjoyment from football starts to kick off. We can start salivating over our draft picks, make some potential trades, and then look back and see if those things panned out or not.
And we would hate to have to set your team to auto draft.
Oh, well, okay. I would that would be brutal. Chervin as punishment for not coming back in time. We set your team to auto draft. We didn't want to replace you, but we needed to punish you for not coming back on time. We set your team to auto draft. That's fantastic. Yes. You get who you get.
You get a kicker.
You drafted Shadur Sanders. Oh, look at you.
Don't say that. What if the guy goes off?
Hey, I get it. It's possible. But however, wherever he gets drafted, we'll see.
One quarterback.
But he wasn't drafted one. He was drafted in the 5th round.
My top quarterback in what we're about to do.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, speaking of which, let's move over to the top 5 and 5 busts. So how we're going to do this is we broke it down by quarterback and by tight end. And I'm going to allow Andrew to preface what he thinks a top 5 means to him and what a bust means to him, because I'm not sure if our alignment of those beliefs are the same. So to me, a top 5 player is somebody who's going to finish top 5 in our fantasy league.
Yes, I took it as I went and I looked through potential points, team development, how the team did with draft. He should be ranked 1 through. These guys should be ranked 1 through 5 in the draft. The bust is different. I took the bust as, guys that he may have been a top 10 last season, but it'll probably be in the 20s.
Okay, so then I think you and I are actually in alignment. So how I viewed busts was very similar in that this is a guy that had value, but this year won't return on that value. So if he finished top 10 or top 15, he's probably not finishing again this year for whatever reasons, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
Like, I've only got one guy on my bust list that was probably a bust last year and will be a bust this year and play a bust next year and be a bust his whole career.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's jump in there with quarterbacks. Do you want to just give your top 5 and I'll give my top 5 and we'll talk about each?
Sure.
Instead of doing one at a time, you tell me, who are your top 5 quarterbacks?
So at number 5, I got Joe Burrow.
Oddly enough, I as well have Joe Burrow at number 5.
I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I think the Bengals did what they needed to in the draft to help improve their offense, and that offense is going to be a little bit more comfortable with each other, and I think he'll have a better year.
Okay, you think he's going to have a bounce back year from last year?
Yeah, because he was.
How well do you think he did last year, or how bad do you think he did last year?
Well, I thought he was about 7 or 8.
He was number 3 last year.
He was number 3 overall.
Well, heck year? Yeah, he was. Oh. He was awesome. He was amazing last year.
Oh, I thought he was finished 7th. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Well,
he was the number 3 quarterback and the number 3 player overall.
Yeah, I think he's going to be
And you think he's going to do better?
No, I think the offense is going to be better overall.
Okay, well, that's exciting though.
The team is going to be better overall, in my opinion.
Okay, well, if the team
struggled the team struggled last year.
It did, but he was still amazing.
Yeah, so we'll see. Okay. My number 4, I got Josh Allen.
Okay, you got Allen here.
Yeah, I just think with Buffalo, they're just staying stagnant. What have they done? Nothing really Nothing's excited me about the team.
They've done nothing to their offense, but they still win.
But he's a quarterback that runs, who steals touchdowns, so he's going to get points. That's why he's there. And do you want to reveal your 4, or do you want
No. Okay. Keep going. I only shared my Burrow because that matched.
I got Hurts.
You got Jalen Hurts right
here. And it's the same thing with as Allen. He runs the ball. He steals the touchdowns from Barkley.
He's on a winning team.
He's on a winning team. Yes.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, same boat. All 3 of them are all rowing from the same 4.
I have Lamar at number 2 as well, so we're tied here.
Yeah. And then I got Jaden Daniels as my number 1.
Okay, so we have the exact same
players, different order.
Same players, just different order.
And the reason I got Jaden Daniels is because I think that team, they took a step forward last year, and I think they're going to take another huge step forward this year. The team is 1 more year experienced. They had that taste of playoffs last year. They're like the Detroit was 3 years ago.
Yeah, they're on the uprise.
And they're going to keep climbing. And this kid is getting more confident. He's got the right weapons. So I think he'll be the number 1 quarterback this year at the end of the year.
All right, so your Jaden Daniels is 1. Lamar, Hurts, Allen, Burrow rounding out your top 5.
Yes.
Mine went like this. Mine went Josh Allen because I think he's going to carry everything on his back. Then I went Lamar because Lamar is Lamar, and he's just amazing every year. And the team overall, I think, is great. I went Jaden Daniels as 3. I think I agree with you that this kid is on the rise. This team is on the rise. I picked Jalen Hurts, which we discussed. He's on a winning team. There's a lot of good things going on over there. And then Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow is amazing with an amazing offense. And with the defense potentially being a sieve and giving up points, Joe's going to have to carry it on his back using the weapons that he's got. So that's my top 5. So same players, just different order. That's impressive. I like that.
This is where we're going to really start to.
Oh yeah, Bus. Because when it comes to Bus, this is purely speculation and personal opinion.
And again, I took this as guys that in the past have been outstanding, all except for 1. And I just think their team just did nothing to help them, and they will falter. So my number 5, CJ Stroud.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you don't think that he's going to be able to rebound?
No,
from a down year. Okay.
When Nico Collins is going to have to be 50% of your offense, Nico Collins is a great wide receiver too. I don't think he's top 1 talent.
You don't think he is?
No. As much as I love him because of Michigan, I think he's a great number 2. But he is not, to me, he is not a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase.
No.
He's not in that upper echelon of wide receivers.
Okay.
That's why I say he's a great number 2, but not a number 1.
Here's Nico Collins. Nico Collins last year missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games.
Yep.
And still finished as wide receiver 22.
So, and the year before he had his breakout year when CJ Stroud was I think he rookie of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And the year before that, Nico Collins was hurt most of the season too. He didn't play as much, or he was third on the roster.
Yeah, he was a nobody.
So with Nico Collins, it's a I don't get me wrong. I'd love to see him have a great year, but I don't. The consistency's not there yet for me to say he's an elite wide receiver.
Okay.
My number 4, Bryce Young. My jury is still out on Bryce Young as to whether he's the guy or not.
Okay.
We'll have to see. And the team, the team drafted okay, but it's not like it's not a when you look at the team, it's not a super sexy quarterback team like San Francisco was 2 or 3 years ago when you had all your wide receiver weapons. Even though they didn't, they went to the Super Bowl, but and lost. But Carolina is not that team. My next thing, and this is where he was okay. He fell off the face of the earth. He came back super strong the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield. I think it's going to drop off. I think he's going to drop off again this year.
Really? Okay.
I think it's because the rest of their division has now seen him for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to start to figure, the defenses are going to start to figure him out.
Okay.
And start shutting them down.
Interesting. All right.
The guy that I just think is all around trash and everybody's hyped him way too much, Anthony Richards.
I was filling in Kirk Cousins.
Oh.
That's when you were saying, like, oh, this sounds like he's talking about Kirk Cousins. But no, Anthony Richardson. Oddly enough, I think Anthony Richardson, I have him here at the same spot as well.
And I think they will walk away from him at the end of this year because it's, what, we've given you enough chances. We spent a first round on you, and you didn't produce. So bye-bye, pack your bags. And my last big one, this one is probably going to be your biggest surprise, and I think because the team is it's a dumpster sale there. Dak Prescott.
Really? Ooh, that is surprising.
Because again, CeeDee Lamb is the only thing. Yeah, them picking up Pickens today, but I don't think that's enough to help the team. The only thing that team has going for them is CeeDee Lamb, and double team CeeDee Lamb and what Drew Prescott got to throw to.
You're not wrong.
Bounce it off a defensive lineman so that the center can catch it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough because there's not a lot of weapons for Dak to make it work. They don't have a running back that they can rely on. That's a name that we would trust. They just don't have the offensive weapons to make it work. Yeah,
and he's getting up there in age.
He is aging up. Yeah, okay. Wow. Okay. I like it. So yours was CJ Stroud, followed by Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, Anthony Richardson, and Dak Prescott. Okay. Here's mine. And to me, I don't have an order for these. This was just who I think will be busts in general. Just 5 busts, not in a rank. First one is Brock Purdy. I think the way the team has played his contract renewal, the fact that he hasn't gotten one yet, tells me that there's a little bit of a lack of confidence in what he can be for this team in the future. And I'm not sure if that's true or not. That's just the intuition that I have that, hey, if you haven't extended him, you guys have doubts. You just paid George Kittle a lot of money. You got rid of Debo. You overpaid Brandon Ayuk. And
you got a broken running back.
You got a running back that's had a lot of wear and tear. See, there's some questions and concerns that I have about this team. So I think Brock Purdy is going to be a bit of a bust this year.
I think with the 49ers, the first 4 games is going to dictate their season.
It's going to tell you what to expect from them.
If they are blowing people out those first 4 games, watch them run the table and not go undefeated. They're going to walk away with the division and do what they were a few years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. If they get blown out those 4 games, you're going to see that team implode.
They need wins to stay confident.
Yes.
They don't have the character required to come back from those losses. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Next on my list is Sam Darnold. I think the Sam Darnold fairy tale in Minnesota was exactly that, a fairy tale.
Yep.
I think it played out very well. I think it was scheme, coaching, everything to make it work. And now he's going into Seattle, where they have not invested into him long term. They haven't surrounded him with things to make this work. It's an entirely different feel. I'm not excited for this scenario. I do not expect great things from Sam Darnold. He might be okay, but he's not gonna take a team to 14-3. Next on my list is Caleb Williams. This is 50% intuition and 50% desire, because I don't want him to be successful in the division with my team. But I also am not a fan that Ben Johnson left the Lions and went over to the Chicago Bears. So what I'm thinking and feeling here is I don't want this to work, and I don't think that it will.
I don't know. I had him actually in Dak Prescott's spot.
Okay.
And then took it out. And the reason I did that was the Bears had an above average draft and off season.
Yeah.
They've added some weapons and a really good coach. So I think he is going to
he has a chance. That's what you're saying.
Yes. I think he's going to be in that top 5? No. Is he going to be in the bottom 5? No. But he's not going to be. He's going to be in 18 to 25.
Oh, that's not great. That's, to me, that would be bust era.
But I think that's going to be a result of the team, not the player. You put him in the Rams offense. You put him in Detroit's offense. You put him in Green Bay's offense. I'll bet you he does not climb into the top 5, but I'll bet you he goes from 18 to maybe 12 or 13.
So he's an above average. He's not in the bottom half of quarterbacks. He's in the top half of quarterbacks.
I think he has that skill set. Yes. Okay. But I just think the team, the Bears have improved 100%. The Bears have improved, but not enough to you know how, like you say, like an MVP player makes everybody around him better.
Yeah.
A great team can make Brock Purdy a Super Bowl quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. I would agree. I think that's where Williams falls for me. If it doesn't work out that way, I will be surprised. On my list next was Anthony Richardson. I think he's just not the NFL caliber starting quarterback. He had some flashes. He has some skills, but Indianapolis wasn't the right team for him to come into the league, to develop him into a starting quarterback. And now he's got to contend with Daniel Jones. Yeah. Like, this is a guy who's washed out from another team, and you've got to compete with him for your starting job. Yeah, man, your
confidence has got to be out the window.
Yeah, you're done.
And you saw it with Darnold last year. Daniels comes in, and maybe this is the right year for him to actually have a good year, and that just pushes Richardson right out the door.
You're done. You're a backup quarterback for some other team.
Yep.
And then the last guy on my list is Aaron Rodgers. I am done listening and hearing and talking about this guy. I have zero faith. I have no confidence. I don't think he's going to help whatever team he goes to. I don't think he's a team player. I think he's ruined the legacy that he created, and now it's tarnished. And this is what we're going to remember him for, as opposed to the accolades that he did earn.
Yeah,
he's going to show up.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I didn't have him on my list because I've already penciled him out as retired,
done and gone.
Yeah. Yes, I have him in our super flex league. I still have him, but
you're hedging your bets at that point. You're not.
Well, it's just because Could he sign somewhere and then I could use him on a bye week? Sure. I'm not going to have him as my starting quarterback or my backup quarterback. Like if you actually look at Rodgers, say you had who were we talking about earlier? The wide receiver, Nico Collins.
Okay.
Or not Nico Collins.
George Pickens or DK Metcalf.
Right. If you were to put if it was the week that you had to play Aaron Rodgers, would you go George Pickens over Rodgers? Who's going to get more points? And it's a tight one. Look at Aaron Rodgers last year. How many games did he only have 10 or 12 points?
George Pickens?
No, Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. Too many. Like he was not a good quarterback last year.
That's what I mean. Like you could have a flex guy go in there, a running back or a wide receiver. You know, yes, it's a 2-quarterback league, but Rodgers might not be if he's your only second quarterback, right?
Aaron Rodgers finished as quarterback 15 last year. So he finished at the halfway point. Not prolific, not amazing. He's had a great career.
He has, but
it's been on the steady decline the last 3 years.
100%. And like you said, I'm at the point where let's stop giving him airtime. We have canceled you, Mr. Rodgers.
Yeah.
You can hang in your sweater, or you can hang up your sweater and put away your sneakers for good. Say goodbye to Casey and the dog. I don't know what the dog's name was.
Oh, actually, here's some Aaron Rodgers news. Aaron Rodgers in contact with the Steelers reported this morning. The Steelers remain in contact with Rodgers and hope he'll eventually sign. Jeremy Fowler of the ESPN.com reports. Analysis. Trading wide receiver George Pickens to the Cowboys makes Pittsburgh a less attractive destination for a QB in general, but it won't necessarily impact Rodgers' decision between the Steelers and retirement, especially if he already expected Pickens to be dealt. Reports in mid-April suggested the 41-year-old was focused on his personal life and eventually would either retire or sign with Pittsburgh. There's been no report on a specific timeline for that decision, but the Steelers presumably would appreciate knowing before OTAs begin May 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not a team player. If you haven't made a decision and you're not going to be there to help, just be done. Be gone. And with that, let's move over to the tight end portion of the show, where we're going to give you our top 5 tight ends and then 5 busts. Now, you started it off last time, so let me start it off this time. Here's my top 5 tight ends, starting with number 5 is Sam Laporta. Last year was a down year, but I still think Sam Laporta is a top 5 tight end. He has great potential. With Ben Johnson leaving as OC, I think that will have an impact on how the team uses him, but I still think he has the capability of returning to glory. Next, it might be a surprise to many, but it's TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson is fully healthy. He's ready to play. He's ready to perform. And you guys might not know this, but JJ McCarthy will be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. One thing JJ McCarthy loves is his tight end. Colston Loveland, who was a first-round draft pick this year, was his number 1 target for the time that he was at Michigan. So I fully expect TJ Hawkinson to be integrated into this offense in some capacity, considering Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, those are your top 2 targets. I still think TJ Hawkinson has a great time to finish. That said, the top 3 I have here are probably going to be light years away from my number 4 and my number 5 by points finished by the end of the year.
Yeah.
If Pratt Freiermuth can finish as a top 10 tight end, but have half as many points as the guys who finish in the top 5, it just tells you that there's not a lot of to go around. So here's my top 3. George Kittle. George Kittle had a great year last year. Brock Purdy utilized him, especially with Debo being out and injured and Brandon Ayuk being gone. And now that both those players essentially will repeat this year, Debo being gone to Washington and Brandon Ayuk recovering from a serious knee injury, I think George Kittle, after getting paid, is going to be a center point of this offense again. So I'm very happy with Kittle. I'll see confident in starting Kittle. McBride for the
Arizona Cardinals.
That's the word. Arizona. He got paid. He's the highest paid tight end in all of football. I think this is a guy who, had he caught just 1 touchdown last year, he would have had a much better season. The targets are there, the yards are there, the utilization is there. He just needs some touchdowns to go along with it. So very happy with Trey McBride. And then last but not least, Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers did amazing with nothing. And now he's got Geno Smith. So he's got something instead of nothing. Not great, not good, but he's got something to work with, something a little more consistent. So I'm very excited to see what Brock Bowers is going to do in football.
Yep. My list is very similar to yours. Laporta.
At number 5?
Yep.
Okay.
And the only reason he's not higher is because, it's going to be only a few points in between. I think 1, 2, you're right. 1, 2, and 3 are probably going to be 5 points separating them. And then 4 through 10 is going to have maybe half a point separating all of them.
Yeah, they're all going to be relatively close. Okay.
Yes. Number 4, and again, because the offense, while the offense is going to look different this year, the touchdowns are still going to be there. It's Travis Kelce.
Really? Okay.
They will get him the ball in the end zone, which is going to get him his points, especially if he's going to say, hey, you know what, this is going to be my last year. This is my swan song. I want at least a touchdown in every game.
Okay. All right.
Give him 16 or give him 17 touchdowns. That's a lot of points still.
That is a lot of points. 6 points every game guaranteed. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yep. Especially at the tight end position. Then I've got Kittle, McBride, and Bowers.
In the exact same order?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And really the exact same reasons as you. The one that I think could maybe drop off could be Kittle, because his whole season is going to depend on Purdy. And if Purdy shuts down and poops the bed, look at Kittle 2 years ago. Did really nothing.
Yeah, he was hit or miss. He wasn't consistent. Yep. And you couldn't trust when to start him.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's talk bus. Now, you gave your bus first. I'll give my bus this time. So I'm going to rattle them all off because, again, there's no specific order. I think these are guys that are not going to return what we expect out of them. And okay. I'm going to go with Mark Andrews for the Ravens, Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys, Dallas Goedert for the Philadelphia Eagles, Dalton Kincaid for the Buffalo Bills, and Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs. These are guys that all play for winning teams that made the playoffs, one that even won the Super Bowl. And the reason why I think these guys are going to be busts is because I think these guys are not going to be consistent enough for us to be able to reliably start, and we're going to get burned throughout the year. Mark Andrews was in severe, even now they haven't clarified if he's going to be on the roster. So he's been in hot talks about being traded. Same for Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert was on the trading block coming up to the draft. So if I'm hearing those rumors, it tells me that there's something going on, and I'm not going to have high expectations for him. But even with how the season went, it wasn't great for these guys. Travis Kelce took a massive step backwards. And if Rashee Rice is back on the field with no suspension of any kind, Marquise Hollywood Brown, if he's on the field fully healthy, you got Xavier Worthy coming up. Noah Gray, is it Noah Gray, the other tight end that showed up a couple games?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they do a spread offense where they're not hyper targeting anybody and everything spreads and his target share goes down. So to me, I'm out with Kelce. Dalton Kincaid, he just never lived up to what we wanted out of him. He might be a great tight end for another team, but Buffalo, it just isn't utilizing him enough.
Yeah. So
I'm out. And then Jake Ferguson is just suffering from the Dallas Cowboy phenomenon of just sucking.
Yeah. Okay. My list is completely different than yours.
Oh, exciting. Let's hear.
Brandon Strange from Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah. Brenton
Strange.
Yeah, Brenton Strange. Yeah. The second round draft pick from like 3 years ago that he lived behind Evan Ingram.
4 weeks last year, he was a top 5 tight end. 3 weeks, he was a top 10 tight end. I just think he's going to take a step backwards because Jacksonville's not that great. Patrick Freiermuth. I think just, again, Pittsburgh, who knows what's going to show up in Pittsburgh. So Freiermuth is that one. Schultz is my next one. again, it's because like CJ Stroud. If the Texans don't have a good year, Schultz isn't going to produce. Kyle Pitts is.
Kyle Pitts.
I think everybody wants Kyle Pitts to do really well. I just don't think he is going to bounce back ever. The Pitts experiment test is going to end, I think. And then Tyler Kraft is my last one.
Tyler Kraft. Oh, that's the kid from Green Bay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I think just because Green Bay is going to, they drafted 2 wide receivers, they are going to focus on receivers and running backs this year. So I think Kraft is going to get his share cut out from underneath him.
I like where you're going with this. Brenton Strange, I wouldn't even consider him a starting tight end. So like he sat behind Evan Ingram, and now he's the starting by de facto, right? So
I I saw a few videos where analysts were talking about him, and it was just like he surprised a bunch of people last year, and the potential's there for him to take the next step. But I don't. He's on a bad team. Put him on another team that uses tight ends. Put him in Dallas, or not Dallas. Put him in Miami. Put him in Baltimore, Cleveland. I bet you he does way better.
Okay.
Another guy that I considered putting on the list was Njoku.
That one I could see. Another guy I considered was Evan Ingram, because he did transfer over to the Broncos. But then I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, things could turn around for him.
The Broncos are going to become a running team.
They could. They're aging out with their wide receivers. Cortland Sutton's getting old. The other guys haven't really panned out as of yet. But Bo Nix, I think, really showed what he could do with this team under Sean Payton. And if they do get a running game that's respectable, I think this team could really open things up. And maybe Evan Ingram does elevate himself a little bit.
Could be.
The Dalton Schultz, I agree with. Pratt Freiermuth, after the George Pickens trade, might elevate a little bit. Tyler Kraft, I completely forgot about that kid. Yeah. Probably for good reason. Yeah. Oh, that's it. Tucker Kraft. Sorry, his name is Tucker Kraft. That's why. It's Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgraves. Those are the 2 tight ends for Green Bay.
Yes.
But Luke Musgrave went down with injury. Otherwise, he probably would have remained as the top dude.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Let's see how this things could really turn around for those guys.
I doubt it. But
Tucker Kraft finishes number 9, so he's 1 spot ahead of Pat Freiermuth.
But I just Green Bay, I think, is going to focus on wide receivers and running backs.
Totally makes sense.
And even Jordan Love was on my list that might be turned into a bust quarterback too.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. That would hurt me in a few places. I'm not going to lie. I would not be a huge fan of that. Okay. Well, that closes it out. To recap, your busts were Brenton Strange, Pat Freiermuth, Dalton Schultz, Kyle Pitts, Tucker Kraft. Mine were Mark Andrews, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert, Dalton Kincaid, Travis Kelce. Yeah, good stuff. Well, guys, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and feelings with regards to our selection. So if you want to throw that up in the group chat, by all means. If you think I'm crazy, you think Andrew's right, let us know. We can take it on the chin. We're not made of glass.
Or if we're not CMC.
Oh, jeez. Don't do me like this, man.
Or if there's guys that you think we overlooked.
Yeah, if you think there's a guy that might end up being a bust, or someone we should probably consider as a potential top 5 tight end or quarterback, by all means, let us know. You can definitely put that into the comments.
I think next week is going to be interesting ones, because we're doing quarterbacks or wide receivers
and running backs. Yeah, that one's going to be a doozy. Yeah. I think we're going to hurt some feelings.
Well, and I also think we're going to have differing opinions.
Sure. Yeah. I think the spectrum, I think, is much wider for potential top 5s and definitely busts.
Well, yeah, and you also have, like, on wide receivers, you've got really 3 wide receivers every team that you can pick from.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're not going to pick the backup quarterback for Green Bay as your bust guy because he's never going to see the field. But so.
All right. Well, it should be fun doing it. I look forward to having this conversation with you again next week. All right, guys. Again, reminder: if you see or hear from Chervin, speak up and let it be known that he's been spotted. He's around. We're hoping he's going to be back in time, pay his dues, and be ready to draft in 9 days and 11 hours.
We don't have to want to send out the Avengers for him,
or the new Avengers. If you've seen how they spoiled the movie, Disney. Can't believe you did that.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. From one poor man to another. Remember, if it's not fun, it is not worth doing. Good night, everybody.
Have a great week, everybody.